I will never forget those crazy eyes. Eyes that wanted to kill. It all began when I was messaging this girl on Tinder. She was pretty cute, but nothing that special. I would say she was a 7 out of 10. After a bit of messaging, she started to talk about her family and personal issues, which she had a lot of, to say the least. She started to divulge to me that she was taking all kinds of drugs for her anxiety and depression. She told me that I was the only person she had felt comfortable talking about this. I knew I couldn't get into a relationship with this girl. She just had too much baggage that I wasn't ready to deal with. I politely told her off, but she kept messaging me. Eventually, I deleted her profile on the app. This is when things got strange. She somehow found me on Instagram with only my first name. She liked and commented on all my pictures. Now I was annoyed. I told her to stop and that I didn't want anything to do with her. She messaged me, "You can run, but you can't hide." I thought to myself that this girl had to be out of her damn mind. After harassing me on Instagram for a few days, she stopped. I thought that I could finally live in peace without getting harassed. For my job, I was a waiter at an upscale restaurant in my city. It was an ordinary evening on the job, and everything was going smooth. I glanced outside, and a pit formed in my stomach. It was the Tinder Girl. I thought this had to be a mere coincidence. I tried to look busy and pretended to not see her. She went up to the hostess and started chit-chatting. The hostess came over to me and told me that this fine young lady wanted me as her waiter. I thought, how did she know I worked here? I had no reference to my job on Tinder or any social media. Chills ran through my spine. I looked back over to the Tinder Girl. She had a huge smile across her face, and her eyes were looking as crazy as ever. She said, "I told you, you can run, but can't hide." I was naturally a ladies' man. Women were naturally attracted to me. Once dating apps came out, I took full advantage of them. I would go on 3 to 4 dates per week. This all changed when I met a girl named Gabriella. She was an Italian bombshell. I had never stayed with the same girl for more than a few weeks, but Gabriella and I were together for 2 months. I knew she had a rough family, but I had no idea as to what extent. After 2 months of dating Gabriella, I got tired of her and wanted to see new girls. Behind her back, I began to go on dates again. She eventually found out, and we had a huge fight. All I remember was her slamming the door on me and saying, "My dad isn't going to be happy about this." I didn't think anything of our argument and what she had said to me when leaving. A few weeks later, some strange things started happening to me. First, my cable line was cut to my house. This wasn't a huge deal, but still an inconvenience for me. I didn't really think Gabriella was behind it until the second incident. One morning I went to my car to leave for work. All 4 of my tires were slashed. I had enough. I texted Gabriella that this nonsense needed to stop or else I would go to the police. She told me that she was very sorry for my misfortune and that her dad had a temper. I texted her, "So wait, your dad's doing this and not you?" She never responded to my text. After getting home from work, I will never forget the horror I saw upon walking up to my front door. There was a huge butcher knife lodged into my wooden door, with a paper note being held in place by the knife. I read the note, and it said, "If you ever mess with my daughter again, this will be you." On the bottom of the note was a decapitated stick figure with gang symbols beneath it. Long story short, I moved to a new city and don't use dating apps anymore. I will never forget that night, running away from those creepy goons. It all started on a dating app. I met a girl named Natalia. Her profile said she was from Lithuania. Her pictures were stunning. They looked almost too good to be true. I supposed she must have been a model. After a few messages back and forth, we decided to go on a date. I suggested a place to eat, but she told me she was dying to check out a certain sushi restaurant. I was curious and looked up the place. The cheapest plate was $50. I was making a lot of money at the time, and this didn't really bother me. Natalia also told me there was a casino in the building where the restaurant was. Before leaving to meet up for dinner, she texted me, "You may want to bring some cash if you want to keep up with me at the casino." I thought that last text was a bit odd, but I got in my car and headed to the restaurant. Upon arriving, I texted her to see where she was at. She told me that she was in her car getting ready. Right before getting out of the car, she texted me, "Hey, do you think you could walk me in?" I texted her back, "Yeah, no problem. I am parked in front of the restaurant. Which car is yours?" She told me that she was parked on the side of the restaurant in a black Tahoe. I texted her, "Come around front, silly. What are you doing on the side?" She responded by saying she already put her heels on and didn't feel like taking them off to drive 50 feet. I drove over to the side parking lot and saw the black Tahoe. There were no street lights on this side of the parking lot, and her car was the only one there. I started to feel a little creeped out by all of this. I slowly pulled up to her car. I got out to tap on her window. Right before I was about to touch the window, all 4 doors swung open. 4 guys with black ski masks got out, one with a baseball bat. I ran as fast as I could back to my car. I just made it to my car before anyone could grab me. I peeled out of the parking lot and drove as far away as I could from that black Tahoe. I live in a small city in Romania. Romania isn't exactly known for their tolerance of gay people. It's not as bad as other places, such as Russia, but the situation is definitely not rosy here either. I went on Grindr and met a guy named Tim. He didn't have a profile picture. This didn't seem abnormal. I figured he didn't want people to know he was gay. We messaged each other on the app for a couple days, and I ended up really liking the guy. We finally agreed to exchange pictures. I sent him a selfie of myself, and he sent me his picture. Everything was going great, or so I thought. We finally arranged to meet. I had some errands to run at a tailor shop, so I asked him to meet me in front of the shop. The building in which the tailor shop was located in had 4 stories. The first floor was a storage room. On the second floor, there was a clothing shop. The third floor was a barber salon, and the 4th floor was the tailor shop. I went to the tailor shop to get my pants hemmed. Afterwards, I went down to the clothing shop to browse around. As I was looking out the window, I noticed there were 5 men. All of them were in their late 20s. None of them appeared to be the guy I was messaging. None of them even looked remotely close to what the guy looked like. I texted the guy I was supposed to meet and asked him if he made it to the tailor shop. As soon as I sent the message, one of the 5 guys' phones lit up and he started texting. As soon as he stopped texting, I got a notification from Grindr. "I'm behind the tailor shop. I went there to smoke so no one would see me. Come smoke with me." I was terrified. I realized I was talking to a different guy the whole time. The only exit door was behind the tailor shop. I asked him to walk around the side to have a cigarette with me. He agreed. All 5 guys went to the side of the tailor shop. I peeked my head from the door, looked left and right, and as soon as I saw my way was clear, I ran for it. This happened the first time I ever used Tinder. I was laying in bed swiping right on most of the girls that popped up on my screen. I didn't get any matches, so I put my phone down. At around 11:45 p.m., my phone started ringing. Half asleep, I answered the phone and said, "Hello? Who's this?" The reply came from what seemed like a very angry drunk man. He said,
"Listen, mate, you have got to stop texting my girlfriend on Tinder."
I thought to myself, what is this guy talking about? I never even matched a girl, much less texted any on the app. I started to get angry at this guy. I said, "Why is your girlfriend on Tinder anyways? You clearly must not be giving her what she wants." He replied by saying,
"I'm going to kill you."
The line disconnected. I put the phone down and laughed it off. I did find it strange how I never gave my number out or any of my details, but it was so late I didn't give it much thought. The next day, I was working a late shift at my old health club. As I finished my shift, I went to my car. My phone vibrated in my pocket. I pulled my phone out and glanced at the screen. It was a text message from a number I didn't recognize. It read, "Behind you." I ignored the text, but the next photo made my heart drop. It was a photo outside of the building I worked at. Now I was scared. I could feel my legs sweating. I looked around but saw nothing. I quickly started walking towards my car. Then I heard footsteps. It was someone running up behind me. I turned around and saw a man charging at me with a metal pole. He hit me with the pole and it fell out of his hands. He then tackled me to the ground. He proceeded to punch, grab, and then strangle me. I wrapped my legs around him and pulled him off me. I then punched him so hard, I knocked him out cold. I called the police and they came and arrested him. The real question I still have is, how did he get my number and how did he know where I worked? I still use Tinder today, but I'm careful who I answer my phone to. If I see a number I don't recognize, I block it now. Thanks for listening. If you enjoy these stories, Be sure to subscribe to the podcast and check out some more of my episodes here.